Hey and welcome. If you clicked on this video, you probably already know what's up. But just to give a TLDR, this will be my response to Kirby slash Sweetbite Bun slash Creations Out of Eden's video titled Letter to the Internet. Link down in the description if you want to listen to it and want to put a comment on it disagreeing with him that will then be deleted by him. It also wouldn't surprise me if he tries to copyright strike this because he can't handle being told the truth. Now, why am I doing this? Because it's a video full of lies, and most counterproof can be found in the KLB archive. Also link in the description. Most of it will be in the folder pre-2020. Another reason that I'm doing this because he says that he's being genuine in this, that he's being vulnerable in this, but like immediately after posting this, he immediately goes back to his old self and shit. So yeah, that's what's made my decision. Now, before I start this, there's one thing that I need to get off my chest. A vent of some sort. If you don't want to listen to me whining, then you can skip forward until you see the screen change. I am sick and tired of this dude going around trying to make me out like I'm some kind of monster or horrible beast that only wants him to suffer. Every time that I point out his story doesn't add up, or show evidence that he lied about this or that, it's always, oh, she's dehumanizing me, she's invalidating my trauma and abuse. Coming from the same dude who has been invalidating my trauma and everyone else's trauma every time that I dare to bring it up. Even using it against me and others to make it seem like we have no kind of say in anything, or worse, to deflect from something very serious. Now, I know what you'll be saying. You shouldn't put your trauma out there in the first place. And you're right in saying that and doing that. But sometimes there are moments in your life that you want others to know. Because your behavior is gonna change as a result of what happens. You'll be more annoyed or easily frustrated. Or there will be things that will trigger you more easily when it first didn't. Or something will make you happier than other times. All because something happened in your life. A large event. For me this year that was losing my job in February, having more trouble with my shoulder/back, and getting sick more easily because of the stress. My grandmother getting sicker with her having to be at the hospital more frequent. And then a week before my birthday, she passed away at the hospital. And I couldn't even get off work because there were only 2 of us for the gigantic store. For context, I had to do a notice period of 10 weeks, so still had to work until the start of May. And the next day I had to get right back to it, because my mom decided to not have a proper funeral for her mother, and then didn't send out any mourn cards, or whatever those are called in English. Basically, here in Belgium, you need those if you want to get off for paid leave for mourning. She got a death certificate though, so I could at least get off for the funeral. Which was a week later, the day after my birthday. So yeah, suffice to say, this year I didn't have a birthday. Celebrated together with my boyfriend on his birthday a month later. And then another week later, my boyfriend gets to hear that his grandmother has a lump in her chest, just to top off the horrible cake that was the first 5 months of 2024. But the worst thing? And now we're gonna go back to what I was saying before. I couldn't out this pain until Kirby deactivated all his shit. Why? Because this little gremlin takes every little small bad thing that happens to me and twists it around to his advantage. You want the truth? I am scared of saying anything about my life on Twitter, even in public servers on Discord, because I know there will be some kind of way that will find its way back to Kirby so he can use it to his advantage. So he can use it against me, so he can laugh around and say, she deserves this. All of this that she's done to me is biting her back in the ass. This is karma for everything she's done to me. And I believe that. I actually believed that for a moment. I actually believed that I was a bad guy for a moment. Because why else would all of that have happened to me? Fuck the fact that people have reached out to me and were grateful that I warned them. Fuck the fact that people have told me I saved them. Fuck even their parents telling me that they're grateful for me. I saw myself as a piece of shit those months. There were moments that I actually thought of leaving. And I don't mean leaving my account. Just up and leave everything. Take a train out to nowhere and just be the nobody that I am. Didn't even think of attempting my life because, you know why? I'm too fucking cowardly to do that. Plus, this would just be another burden on my mom. It would just be another burden on my boyfriend. It would bring more bad than good. I wanted to do it, but I couldn't. I was scared to do it. Because I didn't want to die. But I couldn't see any other way. I was empty. Sure, everyone saw Queen of Mean, sarcastic and sassy woman that has no emotions. I guess that was my coping mechanism around that period. Just distract myself with art, with YouTube, and by helping people with warnings of where Kirby was and which lies he was spreading. Therapy was a bitch. I can tell you that. Oh, fuck. Didn't think I would cry, but here we fucking are. I scripted this out to make it a little bit easier on myself. But yeah. Okay, so that was too long of a ramble. Sorry about that. But I had to get that out. I was tired of keeping that in. Tired of him breaking me down bit by bit. Sorry. Okay. Yeah, let's do the video. I'm also not gonna edit this other than raising the volume on his other than raising the volume on his video. I apologize beforehand for his crackling microphone. It's a bit grating at time. Okay.
So I've tried to figure out how to talk about this, to just come out. I've written scripts. I've tried to compile a timeline of everything. I've thought about every document, every piece of evidence, every call, every recording, every screenshot, everything. And instead, I'm just saying fuck it. I'm saying fuck it, and I'm just gonna talk to the microphone. Say whatever comes to my mind. Say whatever I can think of right now while I'm in the midst of one of the lowest emotional points I think I've been in a very long time.
Okay, yeah, that was fast. Him just saying, I'm not gonna show any kind of screenshots or anything, is already a red flag that this is just full of bullshit and him, you know, not giving any kind of shit.
So, hey, my name's Kirby. Probably know me as what used to be called Buttons. And
I guess he has no problem saying his quote unquote dead name to all of these people.
this is my story of... No, I'm gonna fucking do that. This is me talking about everything that's been going on for the past 4, 5, 6 years. Just saying how I feel at this point. Because at this point, everything I say is just wrong. That's the best way to put it. At this point, I don't feel like a person. I feel like a conduit. I feel like a conduit of whatever people want to be mad at that day. I feel like a conduit of whatever cruelty or haha, this person is so fucking stupid people want to say about me.
No, people are focusing on you because you've hurt them, because you are dangerous.
Because that's how it feels right now. In the past 3 weeks alone, I was broken down to my mental core into screaming and crying at someone the way I did at that kid Douglas in 2018 when I was pushed to my lowest because the Senate brought me into a Discord call and gaslit me about how I should handle my trauma of abuse as a child and how I shouldn't feel affected by it. And then afterwards, I took that anger out on Douglas. I've owned up to that and I talked to him. I want to ask the internet a very simple question. What do you think people deserve to be treated like at this point? How do you think a person on the internet you don't like deserves to be treated?
I mean, depends on what they've done. All of what you've done, you deserved to be called out for it. You're not just a person on the internet. You're a person who has lied, manipulated, abused, groomed, stolen, and sent innocent people to jail, all for your pleasure and entertainment.
Especially for literal, actual years. Because I can give a rundown of how I've been treated. Ever since the video Lio Convoy made, it's been hell. There's no other fucking way to say it. everything started because I tried to come forward about my sexual and emotional abuse by my ex-boyfriend that groomed me and assaulted me.
You were 19 years old, an adult. You had a support circle of friends, and still you decided to go back to someone that everyone was telling you was bad for you. And he never assaulted you. He sent you porn without asking for it, and you woke up in another room different from his, with your pajama pants a bit askew, and you had bodily fluids in your panties. Not to mention, you were in a house where his parents were present all the time.
And I don't take that back. Things happened that I didn't consent to, either through sexual roleplay or in person. Things that I didn't know were considered forms of non-consenting situations because of how I was raised. That's what kickstarted this all. I tried to come forward about my ex that I don't know what to call it. I just know that things happened that I wasn't comfortable with and I didn't consent to. And I've talked in therapy extensively about it for years. And I know what you're all thinking, but that live stream that happened with Patchwork Heart, I can give a simple explanation that if people actually talk to me would understand. When I was in 2018 getting, sorry, this is a very emotionally sore topic for me, and it's not easy to talk about. And that's another thing I wanted this unscripted. I wanted everyone to hear the genuine nature of my voice, because people try to say I lie about how I express how I feel at this point.
Because it's very easy to hear that you're faking it. Like, I just started crying at my own thing. Fuck that. And it was so fucking hard for me to get words out at one point. And yeah, it's very hurtful, annoying, I don't know what to call it, frustrating to hear someone trying to garner sympathy with fake tears. So yeah.
And I don't want that. I just want want to be genuine. So what I have to say is, I'm sorry. In the live stream that happened, you remember me saying, I was wrong. I thought it happened to me too. We worked it out. All of this bullshit. The reason I said that, and I wish I could have clarified back then, when I was talking to him again after everything, it started as I had alerted Vivsy Pop about him and his behavior towards me. And I was like, hey, this guy's going to use you for viewers and popularity, and he's not a good person. I don't think it's going to be good for you. And, maybe I genuinely shouldn't have done that. I was young and dumb and 20, and I was panicking because of my abuser, going around. And I was terrified of what would happen.
20 years old. Dumb? Yeah. Young? No. You were an adult. You should have known better at that point.
Happen if someone I idolized listened to him. He got upset and he threw a fit. I called the police because the police were already in the park of don't talk to each other. And then that turned into a screaming match on Discord. That screaming match turned to him saying how much he missed me, how he never thought I was a bad person, how fun I was. Typical gaslighting shit. So from that day on, he would have me in Discord calls for hours, 5, 6, 7, sometimes 8 a day. All day calls at one point for a few weeks. I think I need to apologize if my sense of time is off. I have dissociation from trauma, and that kind of affects your sense of time and how much you understand how much is past or not past. But during those calls, I would be told things like, if you didn't know if it didn't happen, then it didn't. You probably shouldn't say that. You were probably wrong. Da 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 da. Typical gaslighting statements of it didn't happen the way you think it did. Typical things abusers tell you. So when I said that in the live stream, it was a mixture of the guy that I was dating, who had me hide we were dating from everybody at the time in the call, basically watching everything I did under a hawk eye. The kind of relationship he and I had was extremely controlling, to the point that if I had a friend that I wanted that he didn't personally approve of, if I was talking to people who supported me during the time that the harassment was going on after the first breakup, or if it was someone that he knew I had a crush on after we broke up one of the third, fourth, or fifth times, however many times we got back together and shit, it wasn't pretty. It was a lot of emotional abuse and manipulation and yelling and insults and calling me the N-word and saying that I'm dumb, I make everything a problem, saying how I'm a burden and things that have affected me for years. So, no, I didn't lie about abuse. I was manipulated into thinking I wasn't abused. And that's the statement that has carried over and followed me for years, because people think that I lied about being abused. That means that my recent abuser...
Okay, so gonna quickly interject there. Because, was FNGR a bad boyfriend? Yes. Yes, he was. He was horrible. I give you that. And in previous calls, I also agreed with that. Even while you were saying that I'm denying it and invalidating it, no, you were right in that. The sexual abuse, as in being too sexual with someone that's not comfortable with it, the role plays, the porn sending and all that shit, and emotional abuse. That I agreed with. The only thing I didn't agree with was the assault. Because guess what? That was Vida that convinced you that happened. For those not in the know, Vida was someone that was at the head of Buttons bullying at that time. He and his buddies sent Kirby a lot of KYS shit and all kinds of things that were abhorrent, to say the least. Cue the first time FNGR and Kirby broke up, and Kirby went to that same person that had been bullying him all this time. And because Vida couldn't stand FNGR, he convinced Kirby that he was raped by FNGR. And if you go back to that livestream, that's what the accusation was about. He told everyone that he lied about being sexually assaulted. There was no mention of any of the other kind of abuse. That part of the livestream was about the assault, nothing else. I'm just gonna quickly say, like, his mention of the recent rapist is about Liebe, thank you Liebe, who is a woman. She, her, woman, XX chromosome. And Kirby keeps calling her a him, a man, and everything on the male spectrum. Also, this is gonna be the one and only time that I'm gonna be commenting on the whole Liebe thing. Every kind of evidence turned out negative. Rape kits, DNA swaps, everything.
My rapist, the man that held me hostage in his apartment for a week and assaulted me repeatedly to the point that I was bleeding recently in November, is innocent because apparently I quote unquote have a habit of lying about abuse. Now, what's happened since that video? As you all may know, after that video came out, I attempted my life. And people think it was for attention because of the video. But that's not the case. What the audience doesn't know is in December of 2019, shortly before the new year for 2020, my brother took his life. He specifically took it on an overdose, and it affected me deeply. Shortly after this event, there was a live stream by the, at the time, Top of the Barrel, where they were taking bets if someone would commit suicide. I won the poll. Things were said about how I should get hit by a truck, how I probably, it's a matter of time of not if, but when I'll kill myself because of how miserable my life is and how I have no capacity to have a good life, and a lot of harassment. Things were even said in the comment section of the memorial video on my page that I've had to delete, but I have screenshot evidence of, saying that my brother took his life because of me, and ever since that happened, I have been told that almost habitually for years, my brother took his life because it's my fault. And if he loved me enough, he would be alive still. And considering he took his life, you can imagine how that feels.
Okay. I'm gonna admit, at the time itself, I did think that live stream was funny. I laughed with it. Was around the same time I said all those horrible transphobic things about him as well. I guess it was NB-phobic at the time because he was non-binary then. And you know, now I feel so stupid for doing that. I don't even have an excuse. I guess Top of the Barrels and Vida's way of thinking rubbed off on me around that time. I know I used the R word a lot then too. And I've been trying to make up for that. Watch him take this one statement in the video and turn it into me being the bad guy again. If he can use the fact he was around a toxic group for his racism and all that shit, then I can use that too. But I won't. Because I know it was wholly my own decision to act like that. No one forced me into doing it. I wanted to belong in a group, and it was the wrong one. And it goes without saying that I don't approve of those things said about his brother then and now. I didn't laugh with that. Moving on.
I have also been told, even before all of this, in 2019, back when the top of the barrel was still together and Vito was in it. I don't know if Lio was even aware of this, but I hope he wasn't. Top of the Barrel made it a ritual of telling me that they wanted to rape me, knowing that I am a survivor from childhood, that I deserved my rape as a kid. No wonder it happened to me, asking me if I could get raped, trying to say that they would do it and find my address to do it. And that was a big reason I even stayed with my ex. With these added threats they were giving me, he was threatening to give my information of my address to people behind the scenes. Constantly.
No, your address was found in the white pages because you talked with Vida, out of all people, the super doxer, and his lackeys. You probably gave your legal name to one of them, who then found you in the white pages. You also gave your legal name to me, all willy-nilly. So, yeah.
It was a subtle thing, though. He would say it could slip to them if he felt I had to have it happen for them to put me in a hospital or something. But we all know that that wouldn't be their intention, knowing how the Senate has been exposed. I did take Lio to court, and everyone is correct about that. But again, the story was skewed. There's a reason they cut my audio portion out of the court hearing, because it says the real reason I took him to court. The reason I took Lio to court for a restraining order hearing is because I had photos of my house docs, I had impersonation accounts made of me, especially ones on sexting apps under my legal name, saying things under my name that were extremely vulgar. I have had my address leaked. Police were being sent falsely to my house, even when I was perfectly mentally sane and fine. And I think we all know by now that Lio does have a habit of doing this to other people, because by the ring call, everyone knows that.
First, your audio was cut because it was a recording of the trial, or no, not the trial, the hearing that was sent to Leo because he requested it. So it was only majorly his part of the hearing. And you were barely audible in it because this was recorded from his point of view in a Zoom call. You were there in person. Also, why would Serafina put a recording in the video and cut out your reason for the hearing, but then afterwards puts in a reading of your affidavits that was read out loud with all of your reasons in it? Also, the police were called to your house. That was because the day before you posted the last will or a goodbye letter to your Twitter. Leo called the police in your county for a wellness check. Weird how you don't mention that. And the fact they found you sitting at the computer and not in traffic like you said you were gonna do. Again, cutting out context wherever you go.
Shortly after the Senate video, the harassment only got worse. The one Serafina made about the court case, I mean. After that video, I had a bunch of messages sent to me, either anonymously or on alternate accounts, saying very vulgar sexual things to me. How I deserved my rape as a child. People were happy that I was raped, that I deserved my abusive family's treatment that were abusive to me, that making jokes about a family member that didn't love me as a child. People have also debated the dissociation I have despite clinical diagnosis repeatedly. evaluation. And
No, people have been questioning your dissociative identity disorder. That's something entirely different than questioning dissociation from stress and trauma.
professionals witnessing the dissociation, especially during severe distress. And when people have questioned the dissociation, this has in turn made me question my own trauma. And I've actually had to reach out to some family members to confirm trauma that happened to me as a child. Some things were even revealed to me that I was shocked about. The dissociation being so severe that as a very young child, I wasn't told the exact age. I was only told that I said things a child my age shouldn't say while buttoning my coat. And that someone in my family who I didn't remember got in trouble for some things, and they didn't want to tell me because they knew it would break me. And I think the worst part is knowing that at the time, I can assume, because I remember the other people I lived with at the time, I remembered every face, every name, every person, every voice, but this person, I hear the name and not even the image in my head pops up. I can't remember their face, I can't remember their voice, I can't remember anything, despite remembering everything else about everyone that lived with me at the time. And that's terrifying. People have debated my diagnoses of autism, saying that I'm clearly just narcissistic. People have said that I'm a sociopath. People have.
I mean, right back at you with calling me narcissistic, sociopath, and psychopath. You know.
Made fun of me in various ways, down to saying that I probably only get people being kind to me in real life because they pity me because I look homeless. People have tried to spread false accusations about me mistreating my animal, which I never fucking would. She's my baby and my life, and I love her, and I give her the best I can, to the point that I've sacrificed eating, and I've dumped money on numerous vet visits for her when she wasn't doing well.
Yeah, that cat can still be neglected, although she gets the best material care. If a cat growls at you or gives you a constant side eye, then she doesn't love you.
For context, she doesn't do good when moving to new places, and we moved a couple of times because of life events. And when we would move, she didn't want to drink water. So she can't not drink water. That's not okay. Vet trip visit. Tests were done, medication was given, flea, vaccine, heartworm regularly. She even has prescription cat food for herself because, hydration and vitamins and everything. I love her.
Yeah, because you decided to move her all those places instead of waiting a week to get her used to a carrier or being in a car. Basically, you are the reason that she's traumatized. No one else.
Things have been said that have ripped away the fact that I am just a human being at this point. People talk about me like I'm someone to analyze, like I'm a character from a novel. Like I don't have agency, or I don't know how to describe it. For 5 or 6 years, people have said very cruel things about me for laughs. And I just want to know why the internet thinks it's okay to talk about someone they don't like that. If you don't like someone, that's okay. You don't have to talk about them all the time. You don't have to document everything they do. You don't have to debate if they deserve money when they're struggling. You don't have to try to invalidate if they have certain disabilities or diagnoses. You don't have.
I mean, I can and will debate if someone needs money if they've just been shown to have been buying useless merchandise, or splurging their money on useless YouTube subscriptions, or commissions, or stream donations. How's that $35 that you gave to Stardust that you could have used to buy Momo food?
Have to debate their trauma they had as a child you weren't even there for. It's gotten to be a lot. And I guess I'm just reaching out. And I'm just saying I want it to stop. This is going to sound so fucked up, but the only reason I'm alive, 2 reasons. 1, my cat, who I don't want to abandon. I don't want her to go to a new home that I know she'd miss me. And because I have loved ones I know would miss me, that I don't want them to hurt. And you can sit there and say, why don't you just go offline?
Yeah, all of this goes right out of the window, because not even an hour later of posting this video, he posted a tweet that if he would go, it would let her win.
And I have. And when I got offline, people got bored. That's when the impersonation accounts were made to get me back. That's when people in my real life were documented and contacted. My brother was doxxed this year. People have tried to find where I work. And that's what gets to me. I'm not the only victim of this. It feels like the minute you are even a friend of mine, you are immediately subject to harassment, to people saying horrific things to or about you.
Those impersonation accounts were made when you were still online. Your brother was also doxxed when you were online. People finding out where you work was because you were online telling people where you work. It's not difficult to find out if you post a picture of the store's mascot, or literally say, I took a phone from the electronics department at Walmart on my break, where I work. None of this happened when you were offline. People are at peace when you're gone.
People have been hurt by what these people have done because I exist. And I think that's one of the worst feelings to ever have. That you just sit there and you think that because you exist, people are going to get hurt if they even talk to you.
I don't know, where is your proof? Unless you mean when your friends were literally helping you in your harassment campaigns, or turned away when you were literally outing someone to their transphobic and homophobic family, then there is no reason to harass your friends. Plus, most of your friends that cut you off were most of the time also victims of you. And funnily enough, come to me.
I don't know what else I can say. I've given as many apologies for my past actions as I have.
Oh yeah. You've said plenty of apologies, but every time you've repeated those same actions you said sorry for. Even in your apology to Bunny, the very next paragraph you already say that he was in the wrong. Because look at these copies that were totally Bunny copying me, although there are timestamps that say that Bunny made it before me. Your apologies are never genuine.
Yes, I made a Nazi character that I'm not proud of, and I wasn't proud of even at the time the video was made. In fact, that's something that's always bothered me. I was talked to by people, and I wanted a character for historic accuracy. Yes, I drew my character in a fucking Nazi outfit in My Little Pony because I was in a chat room with a bunch of Nazis who encourage toxic behavior. And when you're with an abusive partner who runs essentially a cult-like thing, like the Senate or Limbo was, you go with the crowd because you're kind of expected to, for not only your partner's sake, but for the people around you that are really fucking cruel to you if you just don't behave a certain way. People asked me how it felt to be raped as a kid as a joke in that chat room. People targeted my trauma to the point that I was broken. I was broken mentally over time. And there's no defense for that kind of behavior. There's no defense for my behaviors in the past either. I have apologized personally to people that I said racist things to. I know I said racist things, and I'm not proud of it because I was raised against it. I have mixed family that... I have mixed family, and I was raised against that, and I feel deep shame about that every day. I think the internet doesn't recognize that just because you've done something in your past, even if you regret it and you don't do the behavior anymore, it doesn't... that doesn't define who you are as a person. It defines a point of time in your life where you did something you're not proud of. I don't defend what I did. I can explain the fact that I was in a certain environment that bred certain behaviors that ultimately culminated in the behavior I displayed. That doesn't excuse it. I've apologized to the people I've said it to, and I've even...
Yeah, but for some reason, in most cases, he never showed replies from that person he apologized to. And apologies were just in general on his Twitter or on his Tumblr, not to these people's faces. And by his own logic, that's not a real apology. Also love how he keeps saying like things I've done in the past don't count anymore, I changed and blah blah blah, but he keeps bringing up shit I did when I was in an emotionally charged state. What is it now? 4 years ago? 6 years ago? 2020 and no, not 2020. 2018 and 2019. Because 2020 was COVID. Didn't really do much then. I was at work. Sorry.
even apologize to my family that have, mixed race, because I felt like that was wrong of me, considering how I was raised. I've apologized to as many people I've hurt as I can, but what I can't apologize for are the people that have hurt me that don't want to admit it or own up to what they've done either. There are people that I can't apologize to because what did I do? I stepped away when I was done being hurt. I said, I'm sorry, but I have to separate. I said, I'm sorry, but if you associate with this person that has made it her mission to hurt and stalk and harass me for years, after I told you she did, I can't be in your life anymore. And that's the thing that my therapists and people have talked to me about. The minute you step away from people, even if they were kind to you, you set a boundary, all of a sudden they get upset and they feel it's their right to say things that are not okay about you to these people, and these people are just gonna fucking listen.
Not mentioning at all how you were the one crossing their boundaries in the first place. Plus, it's horrible how people attack your friends for associating with you, but it's absolutely okay to put people on blast who have just said hi to me or just liked a tweet of mine. Or even worse, when they are just friends with my friends. Association with you is innocent and shouldn't be touched, but association with me is making a deal with the devil herself. Make it make sense.
I've had so much fucking happen. And I think the worst thing that's happened out of all of this is my rapist is being defended right now. The man that did what he did to me, to the point that I have bruises, photos of I had bruises, and there's permanent psychological damage from it that I'm still undoing. That person has been shielded and defended. And if I've tried to apologize to people and they don't want to hear it, that's also their prerogative. But I don't think it gives people a right to just say the things they do about me online either.
Weird how he only does like a minute of doing the they're defending my rapist thing, which, turned out all negative evidentially, and he just goes, whoop, the people that don't accept my apology, blah 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 blah. Like a minute he just spent on that. Not even. Goes to show how important it is.
I don't think people understand that the words they say have weight to them. I've been told that I'm a waste of a human. I've been told I should take my life. I've been given instructions on how to take my life. I've been told numerous things about my body, how ugly I am. I've had transphobic comments slung at me, said I don't deserve to be a man, that I'm not going to be a man, that I don't want to say the sexually vulgar things that have said to me, because frankly, I think this video will get taken down if I repeat what has been said.
Yeah, and this probably needs to be said, but I do not condone those things that have been sent to him. The vulgar shits, the ugly shits, the body shaming, the whatever, everything bad. The rape shit, while obviously trolling, fuck off whoever you are, is the worst, even. I do not condone that shit.
But I guess I just want people who say the things they do, who look at me like I'm an object of entertainment, and I don't know. You can be mad at me, you can hate me, you can not like me. I understand that. But why do you do the things you do? Why do you talk about me as if I don't have emotions? As if I'm not a person that has been hurt, that is hurting, that's just existing, trying to live my life. There are days that I just sit in my bedroom and I get up, I feed my cat, and then I feed myself, and I just sit there. I dissociate. I watch videos because the stimuli distracts me from the thoughts that I do want to be alive. I want the pain to end. That I want the world to be silent for a moment. That I want to stop existing. And I think if you've endured 6 years of the fraction I've described of things, there are probably things that have happened to me I can't even remember right now because it's overwhelming. I'm not asking people to like me. I'm not asking people to think I'm a good person. You don't have to, I get that. I'm asking for the harassment and treating me like I am not a person to stop. I don't know what else to say. Except I want it to stop. I'm being as vulnerable as I can right now. As far as the Manjit Jag,
It's actually very easy to make it stop. Just go away. Away from all of this drama, harassment, whatever. You can even just keep your account, whatever, but stop lying about what you've done. Either you own up to it or you shut up about it. Or the other way is that you just go offline. Shut down your accounts, whatever you have, and just go away. Live your life. Nothing will happen to your friends, because nothing has ever happened to your friends. By the way, just saying that this is all peak projection as to what he has done to others. He has chased so many people off the internet by going through their followers list and spamming their friends all lies. I would say names, but I promise to keep him in peace. But let's just say that this person wasn't the only one. There are so many others.
manga jag shit. That's not what happened with the money. I forgot. And I did return the money to him at one point. When I was finally financially stable enough, I returned I think it was like $375. Because, yeah, I shouldn't have refunded GoFundMe. Just because I thought that he was using the money to get out of a bad home. So I thought that because he wasn't in the bad home anymore meant that, there was no need for it anymore, and that was wrong of me. And I did return that money to him.
Yeah, you returned the money. Years later, there were plenty of other times that you were financially stable. But only years later, when it came into the spotlight again, you decided to send him the money back. Also completely ignoring that this money was still needed, even if it wasn't for getting out of the house, it was also for medication, which you denied him by taking away that money.
And I wish people would shut up about Ichabod. I hate myself every fucking day for that. I didn't know. I genuinely did not know. I can recognize that I shouldn't have been negligent, and I shouldn't have stood by him, even though I loved him. But I did not willingly know what kind of a person he was. Because as someone who's been through a lot, I wouldn't defend that. Unfortunately, because of my childhood with the assaults and grooming I've had as a kid, certain things fell under the radar for me of what entailed grooming with the BDSM and 50 Shades of Grey discussion. He made it seem like he was just trying to educate Jordan about that, and I was naive and dumb about that. But the minute I saw he was genuinely saying how attractive Jordan was and saying genuinely vile things about someone who wasn't 18, I confronted him, and I told him that wasn't right. And he even tried to excuse it with the laws of his state and how he was just letting her down easy. I'm sorry, I was thinking of the conversation itself. He is a man. I'm so sorry. I did not mean to misgender. I was remembering the wires in my brain. He was not. Fuck. what I'm trying to say is I confronted him and he tried to excuse it, and I broke it off with him, and I blocked him, and I made sure that everyone in my life did not associate with him and people were aware. I would never allow someone in my life who does that to kids and defend that if I know. Especially with what I've been through as a child myself. So, I know I apologized to Jordan years ago, and I don't remember what exactly I said. I wish I did. But I am sorry about that.
Yeah, but you were sent everything. Everything that Ichabod had said to Jordan. You willingly ignored everything. You willingly ignored people telling you that your boyfriend was grooming a minor several times. And that was for a whole ass year that you kept doing this. Every time that it was brought up, you ignored it and you kept defending him, and not even once you thought of looking into the evidence until someone sent you the screenshots themselves. I know that each and every time that it was brought up, I posted all of the horrible and disgusting screenshots, and you didn't look at them. Only when that person sent you the screenshots, only then suddenly did you break it off. You had a year to look into accusations of your boyfriend being a groomer, and you didn't do it. And I am gonna keep bringing that up because you did know.
I'm being vulnerable right now. I just want everything to go away. I'm only alive for the people that love me. And that's not a way to live. You're allowed to not like me. You are. I'm not going to say you have to. I guess I just want you to sit there and consider why you think it's okay for all of this stuff to be said. Making fun of my body, making fun of me, saying I don't deserve relationships, saying the stupid narrative that I think every person I've ever been with romantically is abusive to me. When I'm friends with half my exes, and some exes I just don't have contact with because we mutually understand it's, not right. We're just not fit to talk to each other, but that doesn't mean that they're a bad person. Doesn't mean I'm a bad person, just fucking means we're not good for each other.
I mean, when you're friends with maybe 2 or 3 exes, and you have a list of up to 10 or so abusive exes, rounding up the number a little bit for easiness, that says a lot. Not to mention the absolute ever-growing list of people that were once your friends and now absolutely despise you or are so traumatized by you that they're triggered by your voice or someone who sounds like you. Or the friends that's quote unquote switch sides to the evil psychopath queen.
Some people have hurt me and don't want to own up to that. And I'm not going to say they were abusive outright, but I'm going to say it was unhealthy and it caused harm. There are things I've done too. I've run away. I ran away when I was scared that I was going to get hurt. And that happened a couple times. But I'm sorry if this is a jumble and a mess, and I'm lost and I'm tired. I've become so physically tired from all of this. And just to show this is genuine, I'm not editing this at all. This is on OBS with my fucking Clip Studio pinned open, just so I have something on the screen to show when it's recorded. I'm just very, very tired. Physically and emotionally. I've become a shell of a person. I don't know. After the trauma in November with the person who assaulted me, and I lost everything I owned and the stuff my brother gave me before he died. And I lost myself as a person. I lost my future. I lost my will. It slowly just got worse and worse. And
Oh, don't worry. All the stuff that he lost, he made up for stealing everything from Liebe. So yeah. Not really lost that much.
I did attempt my life in February, and I was even hospitalized because of what happened after. And the only reason I'm not going to a hospital right now is because I don't want to lose my apartment. I've worked hard for it, and it's the life that I'm finally building for myself. I want to be out of work and not be able to make money for rent, you know? So I'm just saying to the internet, you cannot like me, but just please stop. Just let me exist. I don't hurt animals. I don't hurt children. I don't do anything that I'm just trying to exist. I don't invalidate things have happened that have caused harm to others in my past, like with the stupid BS with Charlister, with the harassment I did there, and like I said when I made that OC, and I said those racist things, and I know that harm has been caused, but I also recognize that I'm just trying to be better. I've been trying, and all I personally ask is, let me try, let me exist, let me just be. I don't know where I'm going with this. I'm just tired. Thanks.
So yeah. You are allowed to exist. The thing is that you've done so much bad and you still haven't owned up for it. Exist your life, but shut up about people that you've hurt and lied about. Because you're not the only one who is tired. I'm tired. My friends are tired. All of the people you've hurt are tired. But I also know why I do this and why I keep doing this. Because this isn't only about me. And I don't know if people have read this or if Kirby or anyone is actually gonna listen to this shit, because it's a huge ramble. Like I mentioned, all those horrible things said to you then and now, those are horrible. I haven't, I don't, and I will not ever condone those things said about you or to you, and for your sake I do hope those things stop. But there are reasons those things happen to you. There are so many people you've left in your wake that are capable of doing this. I don't condone them. I don't condone the things they do to you. But I don't think you will ever realize how much you've actually done until you are up there and they tell you you'll be reincarnated as a flea for all the shit you've done. There are tons of unnamed people, minors, adults alike, that you've re-traumatized with your lying stories of abuse. And I know they're lies. Because you've changed your story almost every time. Tons of people that were harassed off Twitter, YouTube, whatever, by you because there was something that you didn't like in their artwork or role playing or some kind of small slight against you. You've blackmailed people, telling them you owe this role in this group to me, telling them I'll sue you if you keep talking about me. I'm gonna call your homophobic and transphobic parents if you don't stop talking to these people. You've driven so many people so close to the border. And why? Because their OC and their ships were the same name as yours. Because they spoke to someone you didn't like. Because they had a mind of their own and blocked you before you could corrupt it anymore. You have abused so many people in those small 6 years. You don't know love, you only know control and manipulation. You force someone to choose between their family and you. You put your own needs before someone that needed mental help and made them feel even worse by saying you were the one that was afflicted. You forced someone into doing something that they didn't want, having sex with you, because they were afraid of your rage if they didn't do it. You've coerced someone into having sex with you, and then you tried it around to them being wrong because they're hypersexual and wanted something more, but not with you. You forced people into relationships they didn't want. And the worst of all, you falsely accused not one, but 2 people in your life of rape. The first one was because you were convinced by the same person that sent you all those horrible things in those screenshots you love to share. And the second one, you even took to court and you put a poor woman in jail. Side note, you talk about respect and having genuine remorse, but you can't even garner the respect to use someone's proper pronouns, basically giving someone no choice over their own body or mind. This woman had to endure 2 months of sitting in jail because you twisted around in your head that she abused you when the reality of it all is that you abused her. All of the evidence you brought forth was negative. The case was dropped, not because of a faulty justice system, but because there was no case to begin with. Only a hysterical boy yelling rape because he didn't get to play out his disgusting roleplay. And to top it off, when fleeing the scene, stealing everything that wasn't nailed down or could be traced back to her and calling it gifts. I could bring up your cat, or the fact you think you can decide what I do with my own body, in my own house, with my own boyfriend. I may be unhinged in people's eyes. I may be obsessed. But that's because you've left countless of victims in your wake. I may be the source of all your dark thoughts. But that's because I remind you every single day of everything you've done and you can't face that. The fact your only reason to live is to not let me win is pathetic and pitiful. And you're gonna have to live with that statement until the day you die. And I know I'm talking to a wall. I know I'm talking to someone who will just plug their ears and go, I'm the victim in all of this. Nah, 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 nah. I know that you'll never realize the hurt you've caused to others. Because that's how you think. I'm the victim, and all the rest can go rot in hell for calling out all of the wrong stuff I've done. Doesn't matter they have evidence of it. I'm not seeing it, so it doesn't count. That last part rings true to the Ichabod stuff. At least. I want this to stop. But I also know the last time I tried to stop, people got hurt. That's why I made that archive. That's why I keep it updated. Because I don't want any more people to get hurt by you. And to all of the other people that were listening to this, I hope you have a good day.